So yesterday I kind of talked about how Sony was full of it, and today, sure enough, I'm talking about how Microsoft is absolutely full of it. They recently made some comments completely downplaying the Activision Blizzard merger, and I just had to laugh because here's Sony sort of going a little bit too far one way, and here's Microsoft going a little bit too far the other way. And at some point, you just got to laugh at the absolute nonsense of it all. Let's talk about their comments diving in right now. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. If you like my content, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. I like seeing the channel grow. Thank you for all the subscribers lately and to everybody who has remained subscribed for such a long time. Let's dive right into this story. So Microsoft defends the Activision buyout by saying the company don't make any must-have games. You know, they don't make anything that people want. Just Candy Crush, one of the biggest mobile games of all time. The Diablo games. Nobody, those aren't must-haves. No, don't worry about Call of Duty. A really big property. It's not a big deal. They actually go further. Let's continue reading this article because it's just, they're playing the game, right? This is the game and that's what they're both doing. And here is how Microsoft is playing. Specifically, they were talking to the UK's Competition and Markets Authority. And they issued a statement saying they were investigating the deal in early July with a provisional deadline for any further investigation set for the beginning of September. So here's the comments that everybody's quoting from Rock, Paper, Shotgun. Specifically with respect to Activision Blizzard video games, there's nothing unique about the video games developed and published by Activision Blizzard that is a must-have for rival PC and console video game distributors that could give rise to a foreclosure concern. Okay, so that last part is really important. The foreclosure concern. I mean, as long as they're staying cross-platform, Microsoft is really what they're saying in a hilarious way of downplaying it, comical even, is saying that, okay, look, like we're not going to put anybody out of business if we leave everything cross-platform. It's going to be fine. Don't worry. It's going to be totally fine. So that was from Microsoft's response to the New Zealand Commerce Commission, published in a report from June. That means that Microsoft don't consider the future ownership of Activision Blizzard's franchises, such as Call of Duty, to cause issues that would prevent their rivals, among whom they identify Valve in the PC space, from competing against them. Well, okay. I'll give them that. But when you say there's nothing unique about it, there's nothing unique about World of Warcraft, one of the biggest MMOs of all time, even with their dwindling numbers. There's nothing unique about Call of Duty, this game that has sold well years on end. Like, okay, so Sony made it act like it would be the worst thing ever. Microsoft is acting like it's not a big deal. We're spending $68.7 billion. And I'm just like, okay, both of y'all need to chill with this stuff. So continuing on, I had one other quote highlighted here. Bear in mind that Call of Duty alone has raked in $27 billion for Activision since the series debuted in 2003. As an earnings call revealed last year, at the time of that call, the company's chief operating officer, Daniel Allegri, said Call of Duty was one of the most successful entertainment franchises of all time. Just not a must-have, I guess. Actually, everybody talks about all the games that they have going on. They talk about, everybody's focusing on Call of Duty, and I actually feel like we need to talk about some of the other games that you get in this purchase. And they're not as sexy, they're not as exciting, but people do not talk about Candy Crush, which probably makes more money than any other game on the list. And then there's also games like Diablo Immortal. Diablo Immortal has already made like I think it made 100 million in the first report I read, and they released another one where they have like a whole bunch of users right now, and everybody's spending money in that game. I've talked about Diablo Immortal and how it's one of the most dangerous games that the industry has right now, because if people, I made a whole video about why I'm pretty down on Diablo Immortal. And I talked about Candy Crush. But like, come on. You got World of Warcraft, you have Call of Duty, you have StarCraft, you have Overwatch. Saying something like there's nothing unique about them really is downplaying the significance of the game's creations. And again, it's laughably ridiculous to deny that Call of Duty has had any impact. So Sony, on the one hand, is just saying like, nothing could ever rival Call of Duty. I pointed out there are plenty of rivals for Call of Duty. And then inversely, Microsoft saying there's nothing really unique about Call of Duty. There's nothing special. Just let us buy this thing for $68.7 billion. It's going to be totally fine. Man. So there have been a few reactions to this. Let's just look at like some of the other articles we have here. So this was, who is this? Game is Radar. Microsoft defends Activision Blizzard deal by saying the studio doesn't make must-have games. And the juggernaut is brushing off anti-competition concerns from regulators. I think the regulators can absolutely see that that is just absolute rubbish. But at the end of the day, you know, we had Rick Hogue on the show. We've had him on twice to talk about this merger now. And what he says is that Microsoft wants to downplay the idea that they have a truly competitive advantage. I think they're downplaying it a little bit too much with these hilarious statements. But their goal is to make sure that the regulators allow the deal to go through by playing nice and doing all these things so that the regulators don't have any concerns about negative impacts to employees. So Microsoft has said like, hey, we're going to allow people to unionize. Okay, that's really good. Hey, we're going to leave the games cross-platform. And that's all fine. Sony, so the one thing Sony did bring up was Game Pass and how successful Game Pass is doing. They said it has something like 70% of the market share, which to me, I'm just like, well, Sony, you better figure something out so that you can get a piece of that pie. If they really focused in on that idea of Call of Duty coming to Game Pass, that's their case. That's Sony's case to block the deal, right? I don't feel like they focused enough on that. They talked about how people might switch console preference, and the regulators don't really care about that. Like, okay, so like you and Microsoft are going to be a lot closer then, right? Because there's a $5 billion gap in earnings currently. And in console sales, like there's a significant gap still between Sony and Microsoft. So I feel like Xbox is downplaying the wrong things. Like, man, I don't know. It's an interesting situation because they have to, right? But it's saying they don't have must-have games, that's not true. Come on. We all know that like for a lot of people, Call of Duty every single year is a must-have game. In the same way that like God of War to people like me is a must-have game. I am going to play God of War. So it's just hilarious. Let's continue reading and see if there's anything else that jumps out. So that was the New Zealand Commission and the same quote. And their reaction was, meanwhile, the Activision Blizzard lawsuit from California Department of Fair Employment and Housing is ongoing despite no new developments for several months. Back in April, the lawyer leading the case against the company resigned, claiming California Governor Gavin Newsom had interfered with the lawsuit. Yeah, that whole thing's a mess. So this whole thing is just tied up in ridiculous controversy. And the term that I really latched onto was the unique must-haves. Look, whether or not Call of Duty is a must-have, you absolutely are getting a plethora of unique games in this deal. So, dear goodness, like Sony, Microsoft, let's cut the bullshit down just like 10%, okay? That's my 2 cents on the situation. I thought it was funny. Like after me giving a hard time to Sony yesterday, and then today I read Microsoft and I'm like, they're doing the same thing, just the other way. So a little bit funny to me. Anyway, if you like my videos, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you sticking around for these stories. And even when I get a little bit spicy, hanging out, talking about this stuff. If you want to become a member, where's my member button? Boom. Memberships are turned on and I updated it. Hey there, Ego. Good to see you. I got you on the list. If you want to become a member, hit that join button, and a big shout out to all of the members here. Appreciate all of you. I'm going to get out of here and I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now, everybody.